This model is attractive from all points of view. She has a bright recognizable design. A hatchback can even be compared with an alien from outer space, excellent driving performance and handling. But how reliable and unpretentious the Honda Civic is in operation, now let's figure it out. The advantages of the Honda Civic are obvious. Nevertheless, the main qualities that have been appreciated by consumers from generation to generation are its outstanding driving properties and durability. Therefore, Civic, including a used one, has always been a desirable purchase. 3 body modifications were offered for the European market, 3 and 5-door hatchbacks, as well as a sedan. At the same time, the latter was significantly different from hatchbacks both externally and internally. And even in the design of suspensions. Rare Civic coupes came to us from the USA. 3 gasoline engines were installed on the Honda Civic, a volume of 1.4 liters, 83 horsepower, 1.8 liters, 140 horsepower, and 2.0 liters, 200 horsepower, as well as 2.2-liter turbo diesel. In Europe, a hybrid Civic was sold with a 1.3-liter engine and a 20-horsepower electric motor. Flywheel instead. A 5-speed manual gearbox, since 2008 to 6-speed, was combined with the base engine, and a 6-speed manual gearbox or a robotic transmission and a variator were combined with the rest of the power plants. There is also a Civic with a hybrid setup consisting of a 1.3-liter petrol engine, 89 horsepower, and an electric motor, 20 horsepower. In Ukraine, mainly sedans and 5-door hatchbacks were offered. Sales of charged versions of the Type R were sporadic, and the interior of the sedan and hatchback differed as radically as in appearance. In addition, the sedan had a fully independent suspension, while the hatchbacks had an H-shaped torsion beam at the rear. But both modifications are equipped equally generously. The basic version has 4 airbags, air conditioning, ABS, CD radio and power accessories, heated windows and mirrors. You had to pay extra for the machine. The top performance includes 6 airbags, climate and cruise control, a stabilization system, a CD changer and alloy wheels. For this configuration, a long list of options was offered: leather interior, panoramic roof, xenon headlights, parking sensors, rain and light sensors, and much more. There have never been questions about the reliability of Honda engines. If breakdowns did occur, then, as a rule, due to the poor quality of Ukrainian gasoline. Basically, oxygen sensors and mass airflow sensors failed. After 100,000 kilometers, the fuel pump failed. The car was assembled in Japan and since 2008 in Turkey. It is believed that the Turkish assembly is not as reliable as the Japanese one. In fact, both are broken. On all versions, after a couple of Ukrainian winters, a radiator flows, so checking the coolant level is a mandatory measure. There are no complaints about the mechanical box, automatic and variator, but the robotic mechanics cause a lot of problems. The motor may not start if the electronics do not recognize the neutral gear. Usually it is enough to walk through the gears of the box several times, and it changes its mind. Although in this case it is more expedient to contact the service, where the robotic transmission will be cured by reflashing the control unit. The chassis of the Honda Civic is quite strong. For example, stabilizer struts and bushings live up to 100,000 kilometers. Shock absorbers last even longer. But the support bearings of the shock absorber struts during this period are changed twice. The steering tips loosen up to 80,000 kilometers, and the rail itself starts knocking much earlier. Dealers changed it under warranty sometimes after 15,000 kilometers. The 1.8 liters engine with iVTEC is reliable. In the drive of the gas distribution mechanism, it has a strong chain, the service life of which is up to 300,000 kilometers. But the hydraulic engine mount wears out quickly. Before choosing a modification with a robotic box, you should conduct a test drive. The specifics of its work will not suit everyone. The diagnostics of the robot will not interfere either. The front suspension is strong, against which the wheel bearings look weak. At risk is the steering rack, which began to knock already at the 15,000 kilometers. Tips withstood from 25,000 to 55,000 kilometers, depending on the driving style and operating conditions. The rear suspension does not make itself felt up to 100,000 kilometers and even more. By this time, only the struts and bushings of the anti-roll bar are worn out. Shock absorbers will flow to 120,000 to 150,000 kilometers. Replacement of silent blocks of levers will be required closer to 200,000 kilometers. The body is well protected from corrosion, and the paintwork is fragile. Chips quickly appear on the front of the body and wheel arches. Thresholds can become rusty after 3 winters of operation. Electrical equipment is problem-free. There are complaints only about the small capacity of the battery. With a heavy load on the onboard electrical network, the battery quickly sits down, leaving the car without power.